560 Weather Center forecast. Still chilly day, even though the rain has finally stopped. Clouds will give way to just a little bit of sun. High 46. Should be clear overnight. Low 32. Mostly sunny. 52 tomorrow. Your next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
We were just talking about huggers, because there's some people who hug all the time. And I used to be a hugger. I don't know what happened. I'm not that huggy anymore. Probably because you can't hug any kids, if they do well in a sport, you can't touch them. No? Oh, no. And then when they try to hug you, you're like, oh, I'm sorry. We can't do that.
Oh.
So it's weird. But are you a hugger?
Yeah. I used to be. Not after what happened to me at, No. Only friends and family.
What are you talking? Are we talking?
Yeah,
in code? Oh no, I don't like talking in code.
No, I'm very cautious.
So basically, we're going to talk about this when we're off the air.
Yeah, I'm very cautious. I am very.
And we brought that up because Lori Lightfoot, who I miss her.
Yeah.
I actually miss her.
Yeah. You do?
I do. I really do. In many ways, she just seemed more an adult.
Yeah.
She had a little bit of fight in her to stand up, little teeny bit to stand up to the teachers union.
Yeah.
But we've gone through it. We've gone through the ups and downs with her. But we're talking about hugging because her wife, Amy, gave me a hug once. And I was like, oh.
Why am I being hugged?
I'm like, that's nice. No, she's nice. She's harmless. All right. So lots happening. And we wanted to bring back our good friend, Alderman Lopez from the 15th Ward, because I was so excited when I had heard that they're finally moving migrants out of all of our park districts. And first, before we get to other pressing matters, want to see where we stand on that.
So good morning, Amy and John.
Hey, good morning.
How are you? Yes, the migrants are leaving the park district. I think 2 parks have been cleared. There's maybe 3 more to go. But I believe the anticipation is by April 13th, all park shelters will be closed, vacated, and being cleaned so that they could be ready for summer programming.
Oh, that is such sweet news. But here's the thing. Where are all these people going? Because weren't there at one point in time 300 plus at Gage Park?
Yes, we had almost 500 people at Gage Park.
Wow.
But they have been working to decrease those populations. So, for example, in Gage Park, when the announcement was made, we were down to, I believe, 270 individuals. But that is a great question that nobody seems to want to answer. Where are they going? And that's one of the concerns that the community has as we celebrated this victory. It's like, well, we don't want them out of the shelter and then putting up tents in the middle of our baseball field because this is the only location they know. But we haven't been able to get an answer clearly to articulate what the plan really is, which would come as no surprise to anybody.
Well, why is there so much secrecy surrounding this? I don't get it. I mean, when you get asked, like, they've asked, where are you going? As a reporter, I could teach them Spanish real quick, just the basics, and just ask the people. Because I saw a video of this family with a lot of stuff. I mean, I think more stuff than I have. Pack up this pickup truck.
Yeah.
And somebody just came and they went away, and where were they going, and who's keeping tabs on them, and what's, are they going to be here for their asylum hearing? All of that stuff.
I don't think the city's too concerned about their asylum hearings. I think they're just trying to deal with one crisis at a time, and they're doing it very poorly. I think their goal is just to get them out of the parks, to shut people like me and you and our constituents up, because they're tired of hearing us complain. But I think what they're going to do is just rotate them throughout the remaining shelter systems in the hopes that at some point that they'll be able to find some sort of apartment or rental option for them. I don't think there's a long-term goal in place, because the truth is we know that there's a very real possibility of not only the governor of Texas sending more as the warmer weather kicks in, but also the governors of New York and Colorado, who are now telling people, oh, go to Chicago. They have plenty of money and programs for you. So now our Democratic counterparts are sending their people openly here to our city. So we'll see once more buses start arriving and more people start arriving, how long this will last.
Oh, I can bet right now, and I'll make $100 bet because I love to bet money I don't have. That's that there are going to be tents in front of police stations come June. Because don't they, if they stay in the tent, let's just say, whether it be in front of a police station or somewhere else, they can pocket the money that we're giving them for housing and then use that money to send home to bring up more family members.
I mean, they could do that now in the shelters, and we know they have been doing that, which is why they're always panhandling despite all the programs that are assisting them, because they're cashing out and going to those currency exchanges and money changers to ship the money back to help pay for the next one to come to continue the cycle.
Oh, my God. We got to shut this
So
down.
they're just kicking the can down the road, basically, is what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. With both feet, which is pretty impressive.
Oh, my God. What's the total? Do we even know the total number? Is it
In Chicago?
35,000? Yes, that have entered here illegally.
I think it's closer to 37,000 that we know of. Now, we've had asylum seekers who've managed to get here up on their own. Right. Because I know that I've had people walk into my office trying to get help, and they're like, "Oh, we never went to the landing zone," or "Oh, we didn't come on a bus, we got here ourselves." So I'm sure that number is not fairly accurate for how many of them are truly in the city of Chicago.
Well, so when someone enters your, sorry for interrupting, when somebody enters your office or your ward office and says, I came here, where do you send them? Do you send them to the landing zone?
We will direct them to the landing zone because that's the only way that we can start the process to track their case, so to speak. The city has the resources to try and manage some of that, and have contracted with people to manage some of that. I'm not going to try to pretend I'm someone's case manager. I'm not going to be responsible personally in my office for trying to connect and take care of them when the city of Chicago has a procedure, flawed as it is, for that. Yeah. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and if you kept on walking past Eagle Ridge and came up to Chicago, then you need to report to the landing zone and not just pick a neighborhood and start from there.
Yeah. Alderman, I was just in Chicago. I don't know if you heard the first hour, but I got spat on by a
You were up at
guy.
4 o'clock,
yeah,
right?
I'm sure he
or
was
5
up.
o'clock this morning?
I'm sure he gets up early.
You know what? I was doing my calisthenics at that time.
There you go. Out walking the dogs. Yes.
But I got spit on by a homeless guy right off Damon and right off the Kennedy. And is there a policy where the police don't arrest mental health patients? They send them to like a St. Mary or wherever they're located to the mental health facility? Was there a law passed or something? I
believe that there was a change several years ago that did not criminalize mental health. I think that was the term, decriminalizing mental health. But in the meantime, that means everyone with mental issues, not on any kind of medical treatment, is allowed to roam free on the streets of the city of Chicago.
And I say that because I don't mean to interrupt you. I say that because I saw a report from ABC7 talking about all these people that were getting knocked out over the weekend.
Oh, yeah. The people walk. What's happening in the subway system in New York is now happening on the streets of Chicago. They'll walk up to you. They'll just level you, punch you in the face, and walk away.
Yeah. And they're mental. They get a free walk to the mental health facility. I don't think that's right.
I don't think they get a free walk. Because right now we just had a situation in my neighboring ward where we have a woman in her mid-40s with mental health issues going between a senior home and a condo, harassing people. Everyone knows that she has mental health issues, and she will not be arrested because if they arrest her, they can't charge her with anything that they can detain her with anymore, thanks to the Safety Act, because trespassing is no longer a detainable offense.
Oh, that's right.
So you have that law coupled with the fact that even if they were to arrest her, they can't and hold her. There's no judge that's going to compel any kind of treatment that is going to be enforceable at this point, because most of these mental health clinics and hospitals will not accept anybody unless there's an order, and even then it'll be minimal stay to get them on meds for a week, then they're back out the door, not taking their medical regimen, and then back to their particular insanities. So it's a horrendous situation that we have with individuals who are in this state of mind.
God, we have a woman in Winnemac Park that is like that. I mean, she's out of her mind, Alderman, and she just goes up to people and starts screaming, and all these like do-good liberals are trying to talk to her. I'm like, you can't reason with crazy.
Yeah.
Just walk away from her, because then she'll start, if no one's there, then she'll start yelling at a tree or, I mean, she's out of her mind. But,
Yeah, but what happens if she hurts or harms? I mean, there's just listen. I mean, you know my cop background. I just see that as, I mean, what happens if something serious happens, and it's like Chicago citizens are just damned if you do, damned if you don't, right?
100%. And I could say that I was actually a victim of that myself a few years ago, because we had somebody, when I had a ward office in West Englewood, had a mental health issue, was triggered by my name because it reminded him of something. Kept vandalizing my office, breaking my doors and things of that nature. Nothing to do with me, nothing to do with anything about me or anything I do, but the name triggered one of his demons, and the police even said, we can come, we can arrest him, he'll sit in jail till we fill out the paperwork, we'll let him go, because we have no judge to compel him to treatment. We can't do anything with him. Finally, a judge sentenced him to a local hospital to get regular on medication. He was good for a week, released, went home, threw out the meds, bought some alcohol, started self-medicating, and then boom, we're right back to where we started.
oh, my God. All right, I wanted to move on to some news that Mayor Johnson made again this week about the LaSalle Street getting 1,000 apartments under a plan to repurpose office buildings. Our good friend Jeff Carter at his Substack, jeffcarter.substack.com, his title of his article was "The Dumbest Idea in Chicago History." And then the byline, "In a city that has had a lot of dumb ideas." So what say you on this proposal?
You know, I'm all for trying to do something with some of the buildings that are downtown. Look, we know we're not going to get the population back, the workforce population back anytime soon, and in some cases at all. Right now, many of these buildings are at 60% vacancy, have a 60% vacancy rate. That's not sustainable for them, and we're going to see more buildings turn in their keys if they don't find a different solution. But I think what we have to do is decide what kind of downtown we're going to make as we try to transition to a mixed, high-rise commercial like New York, and how you're going to pay for it. 1,000 units to a multi-million-dollar property. We don't have enough money in the bank to make that happen, and you have to work with the private sector, for-profit developers to see what we can do. That's not the mayor's strong suit, because he always piggybacks to all of the not-for-profit, affordable housing patronage groups that want to build at the highest price possible. So I think that if we're going to make that transition, if we're going to open up the doors to this, then we better have a real, clear, and honest conversation on how to do it. And we've seen time and time again, honest and clear conversations are not this administration's strong suit.
Yeah.
As is evidenced by the tuberculosis flying around right now.
So it sounds like it's going to become another Cabrini Green, basically, where I lived.
You lived in
some
Cabrini
point.
Green?
At some point. Yeah, I was born there. I was born in Cabrini Green. So yeah, but I love this guy's article and what he said at the end. The mayors daily were both corrupt, but they knew you could never lose the loop. What has happened to the once great? I mean, Chicago used to be great, hustle, bustle. They made sure that they kept those businesses in Chicago. What is happening in Chicago, Mayor?
One word: crime. Very simple. I think that when you have a non-existent nightlife, and when you have, as much as the extreme left of my party tries to deny it, the fact that workers do not want to return downtown, in part because they like working from the couch, but also because they don't feel safe. That's an issue. And we've seen where Millennium Park now has guardrails and security checkpoints. This isn't the Ukraine. This isn't the Middle East.
Right.
Chicago never looked like this.
No.
You were able to walk around free and enjoy everything. And I think that, we really saw this shift after COVID and the pandemic, when you started having all these teen takeovers and all of these drag racing events, and even when my own cousins would do the Mexican Independence Day parade and take up all of Michigan Avenue.
Oh, that was the worst. I'll never forget. Dan could not get back to his Lake Point Tower condo.
Yeah.
He couldn't get into the city. I mean, people who live in the city could not get in. And also, too, George Floyd riots.
Yeah. Let
I
them
think
vent
that-
mentality.
You know, that night,
Mhm.
I'm like, we're gone.
Yeah.
We're Detroit.
And Columbus statue and
Oh,
all
that's
those
right.
things have a psychological effect on people wanting to be downtown. And when you look at the impact on businesses, you used to be able to stay downtown, go to a restaurant, go to a bar, go to Kinsey Avenue, or even go to Greektown a little further west and enjoy drinks or dinner or whatever until midnight.
Right.
Now, those restaurants are closed by 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, because of crime.
You have to let
Last time I went downtown, I went to Gene and Giorgetti's. I was home by 6:30.
Yeah.
I got there early, ate, and left. But they close every restaurant. And you're right, the nightlife. I don't even know. We used to go out till
Yeah.
2, 3 in the morning clubbing. I don't even know where anyone. I mean, our clubs still.
Clark, Kinsey.
I sound like an old lady, Alderman, but are there some clubs out there? Or are they all in the warehouse district?
No, I think there's still some that are down there, not like before. But I think definitely we still see the reports of the criminal activity that happens,
Oh,
the
that's
shootings that'll happen at nightclubs and stuff
River
like
North.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. I mean, and that's what you need to protect if you're going to have a go-to district, and you turn this into like a high. It went from being a high. I don't want to say high society, but it used to be like the place to go, the cool place to go downtown. I mean, I remember that even when I was growing up. Now I sound like an old person, and now it's just we've turned all of downtown into like a borderline red line district.
Wow. We got to get rid of the let them vent mentality. Allowing these thousands of kids to come out, allowing them to go walk on the expressways, and you're going to walking on the expressways with them. That let them vent mentality needs to cease and desist right now. That's the only way one of the ways you bring back Chicago, in my opinion.
I think we're going to have a summer of chaos.
Yeah.
Well, as we saw with one of their fearless leaders, one of my colleagues, you can't always exercise your right to free speech, but there will be consequences for how you do it.
Yeah, I see he took
If you're not
off
going
his.
to do it in a respectful way, then there should be actions for that.
I see he took off his Palestinian scarf when he was under some scrutiny the other day at City Hall.
That
Finally, he took it off.
Byron is a coward because he wore it 2 hours earlier
Oh,
at a committee meeting, and then took it off when his photographer, lawyer, and family showed up to defend his chairmanship.
oh, so he gets to keep his chairmanship, which was not a big surprise.
Yes, he gets to keep it.
Oh, God.
But, praise to my 15 members who stood strong with me to say, no, we're not going to tolerate this. And hopefully that could be the start for holding this mayor and his team accountable. We have to keep trying.
Yeah.
Because as we see, we have all of this craziness going on in our city right now.
Yeah. We have.
The city of Chicago just announced that you should be careful of measles on CTA buses and in schools. I can't imagine why that announcement was made. But, we know that there are a lot of things that they're covering up and keeping quiet, and we just have to keep pushing back on them.
Good for you. All right, we're going to have to leave it there, Alderman Lopez, 15th Ward. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you.
Amy and John, your listeners, stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Friday.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.